One of the main reasons Fast and Loud became a hit was Aaron Kaufman's amazing mechanical skills, but after 14 seasons, he made the shocking decision to quit. What happened? Stay tuned as we look into the reasons he quit that made him famous. Aaron Kaufman has loved machines since he was a child. If it had an engine, moved, or made a loud noise, he was interested. He didn't just want to watch, he wanted to take things apart. Taking things apart to figure out how they worked and then putting them back together again sparked his interest in machines and helped him become one of the most famous custom car builders in the world. Aaron's father was a mechanic who lived and breathed engines. He wasn't just fixing cars for a living, he loved it. Aaron was also interested in trucks, racing, and everything else about cars. Of course, Aaron grew up with tools and greasy surfaces all around him. He grew up with his hands on cars and the sound of engines revving all the time. It's no surprise that he became interested in cars himself. But here's the interesting thing. Aaron learned a lot from his dad, but his real passion didn't fully ignite until he started driving. Working on a car in the garage is one thing, but getting behind the wheel and feeling the power of the machine you've built is another. That's when things changed for him. Aaron didn't grow up in a garage full of extra cars to tinker with like some kids do. He wasn't given fancy tools or extra cars to play around with. Instead, he had to learn the hard way by fixing his own cars whenever they broke down. Imagine being a teenager and knowing that if your car broke down, there was no one else to fix it, and you didn't have the extra money to get it fixed by a professional. Aaron learned quickly by fixing things with just his tools and the problem at hand. But guess what? Aaron never wanted to be a mechanic. If you had asked Aaron Kaufman as a child what he wanted to do when he grew up, he wouldn't have said he wanted to build some of the coolest custom cars in the world. Instead, he wanted to be a park ranger and spend his days exploring the great outdoors. Aaron Kaufman used to dream of being a park ranger, patrolling forests, climbing mountains, and protecting nature. But life has a funny way of taking us in unexpected directions, and even though he never became a park ranger, his love for off-roading never went away. In fact, it became a big part of his career later on. He didn't just build cars to look cool. He built them to handle rough terrain and go places most vehicles couldn't. Before he became the famous bearded mechanical genius that people all over the world know and love, he was just a regular guy working in a small garage in Dallas. He wasn't famous or on TV, he was just very good at taking things apart, figuring out how they worked, and then putting them back together better than before. One day, while working at a garage in Dallas, Aaron met Richard Rawlings, a man with big dreams, a love for cars, and a good eye for talent. Rawlings had just opened Gas Monkey Garage, a business that turned old, broken-down cars into... Rawlings saw something special in Aaron right away. Aaron wasn't just average when it came to cars. He had a rare gift for seeing projects through to the end, and he paid attention to every detail. It didn't take long for Rawlings to offer Aaron a job at Gas Monkey Garage. By 2012, Rawlings had an even bigger idea. He wanted to take Gas Monkey Garage to the next level. Gas Monkey Garage to TV. He pitched the idea of a reality show about fixing up old cars. Discovery Channel soon picked it up, and it became the show Fast and Loud. Aaron Kaufman quickly became a fan favorite, and what made him stand out was his long, rugged beard, the calm, focused way he worked, and his insane gift for turning old, forgotten cars into jaw-dropping preems. Most likely all of these were masterpieces. Rawlings was the loud, energetic businessman, and Aaron was the quiet, methodical genius behind the builds. Together, they were unbeatable, and Fast and Loud became a big hit. Aaron was truly unique because he was so dedicated to his work. It wasn't just a job for him, it was his passion. And he showed that in the most extreme way possible. While filming, Aaron had to have emergency surgery. Most people would take time off to rest and heal, but Aaron didn't. Aaron only took 3 days off after surgery and then went back to work right away. Most people wouldn't even think about working after surgery, but Aaron didn't want to slow down for years. A lot of people watched Aaron Kaufman and Richard Rawlings turn old, lost cars into beautiful works of art. They were a great team. Rawlings' Aaron Kaufman was the mechanical genius with the beard who could bring any car back to life. But by the end of 2016, something had changed. Fans were shocked to hear that Kaufman was leaving the show after 14 years of working together on Gas Monkey Garage and Fast and Loud. Why would he leave something so successful? From the outside, customizing cars, being on TV, and making a name for yourself in the auto industry may have seemed like Aaron's dream job at Gas Monkey Garage, but things weren't as perfect as they seemed. He later admitted that the last 5 years at GMG had felt like 20 because of the stress, workload, and creative differences. That's a long time to be unhappy at work. What made Kaufman and Rawlings fight was that they were very visions for building cars. Aaron wanted to make cars that were bigger, more complicated, and faster, but the TV show wanted cars that were smaller, faster to build, and more fun to watch. Aaron later told Art of Gears that his dream was to make cars that were smaller, simpler, and faster to build, that were bigger or more complicated, but TV needed him to work on cars that were much smaller and easier. This difference in creative direction made each job more frustrating for him because it didn't match up. In addition to the creative problems, Kaufman also said that he and Rawlings had some personal and professional disagreements. He didn't go into too much detail, but it was clear that things weren't as smooth behind the scenes as they seemed on TV. He said that the situation was like coming to a fork in the road. One way would mean sticking at Gas Monkey Garage and working under stressful conditions while feeling confined. The other way would mean freedom to explore new opportunities. He had new projects to work on and could build cars however he wanted. In the end, he picked freedom. One of fans were most interested in whether Kaufman and Rawlings had a bad relationship. Kaufman kept things professional, but he did hint that there was some tension. He didn't leave on bad terms, but there were definitely frustrations and disagreements that led to his decision to quit. It's not easy to leave a job after 14 years, and things can get complicated when you work closely with someone for that long. Kaufman announced on the show that he was leaving GMG, which shocked many people, including Richard Rawlings, the owner of Gas Monkey Garage. Rawlings later said that Kaufman's departure wasn't his decision. He said, "It came completely out of left field, which means it was completely unexpected." Rawlings was honest about how hard it was to lose Kaufman. After all, Kaufman wasn't just an employee. He was a big part of why GMG became famous in the first place. Kaufman was the master builder who made those cars legendary. When GMG lost Kaufman, they had to rethink everything. Even though Kaufman's death was a huge blow, Gas Monkey Garage had to move on. The shop had already built a global brand, and Fast and Loud was still a huge hit on Discovery Channel. The show kept going without him. Richard Rawlings made it clear that Gas Monkey Garage wasn't just one man, it was a team, and the shop would. Many fans and critics thought that Fast and Loud would never be the same, and some even thought it might fail completely. Richard Rawlings wasn't having any of it, and in a blog post on GasMonkeyGarage.com, he quickly defended the rest of his team, saying it was unfair to say that Gas Monkey Garage couldn't work without Kaufman. Rawlings agreed that Kaufman's departure was a big loss for Gas Monkey Garage, but he stressed that GMG was more than just one person. He made it clear that it would be unfair to the rest of the team to say that the shop couldn't continue without Aaron. Rawlings praised the hard work and dedication of everyone at Gas Monkey Garage, saying that the garage was built on the strength of the whole crew, not just one person. In other words, he was saying, yes, losing Kaufman hurts, but don't forget, Gas Monkey Garage had to show that it could still deliver the same level of quality, creativity, and excitement after Kaufman left. To do this, they brought in new mechanics to help with the builds and worked on even bigger projects to keep fans interested. They also tried to keep the same energy that Seaman had brought to the show, but fans noticed the difference. The shop still did great work, but fans noticed the difference. Something wasn't right. Kaufman had a special set of skills and an attitude that made it hard for the show. went on for 3 more years, but the dynamic had changed. Some fans stayed, but others lost interest. The chemistry between Kaufman and Rawlings was part of what made the show fun to watch, and without their banter and teamwork, it just felt different. Fast and Loud ended in 2020. Gas Monkey Garage still exists, but the era of Fast and Loud as we knew it was over. Even though the show ended, Gas Monkey Garage had a huge impact on the car world for years. The show brought hot rods and custom cars to millions of people around the world. And let's be honest, none of that would have happened without Kaufman and Rawlings. When Aaron Kaufman left Fast and Loud in 2017 for Gas Mon Garage, fans wondered what the bearded genius would do next. Would he leave the car world behind, disappear from TV, or start something new? Kaufman wasn't about to give up on his passion, so he did something big. Kaufman started his own car shop in Dallas, Texas, called Archite Fabrication. For years, he had wanted to work on bigger and more complicated projects, but at Gas Monkey Garage, he often had to rush through builds to meet the deadlines of Fast and Loud. That wasn't how he liked to work, so when he finally got the chance to do things his way, he jumped at it. Archite Fabrication wasn't just any car shop. Kaufman had a clear vision. He wanted to focus on making and supplying aftermarket parts for, of all the cars Kaufman could work on, why did he choose the Ford F-150 SS? Well, Kaufman has always liked old trucks, especially ones from the 1950S to the 1970S. The Ford F-100 is an iconic American truck, but it's not always easy to find good parts for it. Kaufman saw an opportunity. Instead of just restoring these trucks, why not make the parts that truck fans need? That's exactly what he did with Mustang parts. Kaufman had a full team and a big platform at Gas Monkey Garage thanks to Fast and Loud, but now he had to start from scratch. He had to find the right team, the right customers, and the right project. But this was Kaufman's true passion, and he once said, "I'd rather do what I love and take my time than rush through builds just for TV." Years later, Archite Fabrication is still open, and Kaufman is still doing what he loves by working on Ford. Many TV fans wondered if Aaron Kaufman would ever come back to TV after leaving Fast and Loud and Gas Monkey Garage. Well, Kaufman didn't just disappear. He came back with 2 exciting new shows, Shifting Gears with Aaron Kaufman and Aaron Needs a Job. Let's take a closer look at what these shows are about and why car fans and Kaufman fans should watch them both. Kaufman brought in a hand-picked crew to help with these builds, and the show had the same high-energy feel as Fast and Loud, but with a new twist. What's unique about Shifting Gears is that it's closely linked to Kaufman's work at Archite Fabrication. This show isn't just about flipping cars for quick money. It's about taking on major restoration projects and pushing the limits of what a car can be. The show goes deep into his craft with cars, where he makes custom parts and works on projects that are important to him. It's clear that he loves what he does and is proud of every car he restores. And guess what? Fans and critics alike loved seeing Kaufman in his element, working on classic cars and bringing them back to life. But Kaufman didn't stop there. He took on a whole new challenge with Aaron Needs a Job. This show is not the same as the work he did before. It's not just fixing cars. Kaufman instead goes on road trips across the country to meet people working on unique automotive projects. Whether they're restoring a rare classic car or making a crazy custom machine, Kaufman jumps into these projects with his usual sense of wonder and drive. The twist in Aaron Needs a Job is that Kaufman isn't just an expert at building cars. He's also trying his hand at jobs he's never done before. From working with Kaufman leaves his comfort zone to learn new skills and faces challenges that are both interesting and hard. This show has a fun, adventurous vibe that sets it apart from Shifting Gears, which is more technical. Kaufman meets lots of cool people who are passionate about cars, and he even gets a taste of what it's like to work outside of his usual area of expertise. Both Shifting Gears and Aaron Needs a Job show something important about Kaufman: his love for cars and his willingness to try new things. Kaufman has the same energy and passion that made him a fan favorite on Fast and Loud, when he's restoring a classic truck, working on a crazy new project, or learning something new. Even after leaving Gas Monkey Garage, Kaufman found new ways to keep doing what he loves. And now we get to see it all on TV. One thing's for sure, Kaufman isn't slowing down anytime soon, and we're all along for the ride.